We're here in Copenhagen, Denmark with Sandi Stanford from the Alamo Breast Cancer Foundation. Sandi, it's so good to see you.
Nice seeing you again, too.
We have to come all the way to Copenhagen to reunite, right? All the way across the country or across the world.
Exactly.
But it's all good. So you were here and you had a presentation yesterday, and it's a very exciting topic because it's centered around knowledge is power, and including the patients in research, which is so critically important, as we both know. Can you give us a few of the highlights and takeaways from your presentation?
So basically, it's about our program that we run in San Antonio at the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium. So it's every patient that comes to a conference should have some type of medical knowledge, especially of their own cancer. And most people don't. When they're diagnosed, they have no clue what it is. Unless they have a hereditary cancer, then they know that their mother, their father, someone in their family, sister or brother, had the same disease, so they know something about it. But the majority of women and men know nothing about the disease when they're diagnosed. They know October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that they should buy something pink, which is not exactly what Breast Cancer Awareness Month is about, but they think they're doing something good, and hopefully they are, and it reminds them to go get their mammogram, because once they're diagnosed, they'll want to know, what type of breast cancer do I have? Is it hormonal positive? Is it hormonal negative? Is it HER2 positive? Is it HER2 negative? Do I have inflammatory breast cancer? And of those, then there's so many different options, as we say. So you can have estrogen positive, HER2 negative, estrogen positive, HER2 positive, estrogen negative, HER2 negative, estrogen, which is also called triple negative, which is not one of the better cancers unless it is caught early, and estrogen negative, ER/PR negative, Herceptin HER2 positive. So you can have a combination of all of those, and then inflammatory breast cancer is totally different whatsoever. There are no lumps. You just have like a basic rash on your breasts. So men and women have inflammatory breast cancer. So it's really important that once you learn what you have, to research and find out, this is what I have, now what are my options? Do I just listen to my doctor and do everything my doctor says? Do I talk to the oncology nurse? Do I talk to other patients? What's my best way to learn about the disease? And there are classes where you can go to learn about different diseases. You can go to symposiums to learn about your disease or other diseases. You may not know the science, but hopefully it may be over here at the beginning, but at the end, once you've educated yourself, you should be able to understand a little bit about what it is. And by education, I mean you learn, you keep learning, and you learn every day of your life.
Yeah, and the caregiver is so important in the learning equation as well, because sometimes the patient is overwhelmed, especially when they hear those three words, you have cancer, and sometimes, you know, just the human emotion of finding out a cancer diagnosis is overwhelming. And so it's important, and I think you stress this quite a bit. And we talked about this in San Antonio, about the caregiver's role.
Right. So the caregiver, whether it's a spouse, a partner, a child, a mother, an aunt, a grandmother, it's really important that that person understand the disease also. So that person knows what the patient is going through. It's important to have a support system around the patient. And that way the patient then, the caregiver can help the patient, but the support system around the whole family, the friends, can help uplift the patient so that they don't think of themselves as having this horrible disease. They think, I have a disease, but I'm going to get through it. And I have all these people that are rooting for me, so I have to get through it.
Yeah.
So it's totally different if you have a caregiver and you have a support system than if you do not.
So when we were in San Antonio almost a year ago, we were talking about advocacy.
Right.
And we were primarily focusing on advocacy in the U.S., and now we're here at the ESMO conference in Copenhagen. And all of our colleagues in advocacy from around the world are here. And it's a great opportunity for us to exchange ideas. What are some of the things, that we can learn from our colleagues in other parts of the world? And what do you think other parts of the world can learn from us, advocacy in the U.S.?
I know part of our program in San Antonio, we bring international advocates, and it's such a powerful networking experience because here I'm the only that I know of U.S. advocate that is here. And it's so interesting to hear the different cancers and what they've had to go through in order to develop their own organization, to get the support that they need. And it's really, really difficult for them. But once they do it, once they get on board, they're gung-ho. So one of the ladies that I met yesterday, a breast cancer survivor, lives in Switzerland, and she is now on one of the governmental agencies there to where she helps oversee as a member of the committee, the cancer decisions for Switzerland. So she's learned about her disease. She's taken classes, she's gone online, she's gone to university, so she understands the disease. She can talk to doctors about the disease. So she's made herself an advocate by herself, and by educating herself, and then by pushing herself into this group of doctors saying, don't you need someone with an unbiased opinion? Don't you need a patient on this committee? And she's done that quite well. Some of the other countries, maybe not so well, but they're learning, and they're learning not only from their European counterparts, but from the US counterparts also. I know that the Dutch, the Holland, from the advocates from the Netherlands learned how we do different things and how we lobby at a state level, how we lobby at a national level for cancer research and for care of cancer patients. And so more funding for NIH. So they're now doing the same thing. And they found that they're able to do that quite well, and that the people in power are actually listening to them. But they never would have done it without a push and a shove from another group teaching them, this is what you do, this is how you do it, this is how you go about it. You don't lay down on the ground and kick your feet and hands and have a tantrum. You go in with logic, you go in knowing your disease and knowing the different diseases, know what that committee does, and they're going to be teaching us in the US how to do that in another year or two, because they're doing it quite well.
Yeah.
Especially in Germany, they're doing it very, very well.